All right, thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank Maseno University for inviting me. That's okay? All right, I want to thank Maseno University for inviting me for this conference. I am passionate about medical education. My primary training is in hematology, but I decided to go into further training to be a teacher, because it's not automatic that you're a doctor, but when you're a doctor that you can teach. I believe it's a learned skill, and you're going to see how it's a learned skill. And so I decided to pursue further studies on this subject so that I can be a more effective medical trainer. So today I'm going to be talking to you about providing constructive feedback in the clinical education setting. Brief introduction. So what is feedback? So within the health professional education space, feedback has a specific definition. So it's specific information about the comparison between the learner's observed performance and a standard. So there has to be a standard by which you're comparing the learner's performance. And when you're doing this, when you're giving the feedback, you have the intention to improve the trainee's performance. That always has to be at the back of your mind, that you're not trying to discourage or victimize, but what you're trying to do is to improve the student's performance. And feedback is very important in clinical education or health professional education because it forms a very integral interaction between the teacher and the student. And the learning process cannot do without feedback. It has to be incorporated within the learning process. It's part of the learning process. So you cannot separate it from the learning process. It's part of it. And it helps to narrow the gap between the actual and the desired performance of the students. So when you give feedback, you engage the learner with the information about the quality of their performance, and you also equip them with learning strategies to help them improve the performance in case improvement is needed. Feedback also helps the learner to make effective decisions, supports learners' effective decision making, and helps to improve learners' learning outcomes or learning objectives for the particular learner. It is a powerful tool that provides the learner with judgments on their performance, and it assists the learner in their educational progress. And so therefore, we as teachers need to acquire the skill of giving effective or constructive feedback, because it is a learned skill. It's not innate, it's not automatic. It is something you need to be taught how to do. And that's what I'm going to go through today. Okay, so what is the purpose of feedback? So I've already mentioned some of the rules of feedback, just to reiterate and emphasize that it is a continuing part of the instructional process that supports and enhances learning. Yeah? It is part of the ongoing process of learning, so it tends to be more of a formative assessment type of entity. Yeah, so it's as part of your formative assessment, giving feedback to your learners forms that assessment. So the third bullet is giving us 3 ways in which effective feedback benefits the student. So number 1, it informs the student, of course, on their progress so far. Yeah. And then it also informs the student on what learning needs they need for improvement, and motivates the student to engage in appropriate learning strategies or activities to help with this improvement. Yeah, so from that diagram you can see feedback. It's more of a reflective process. So the task was already observed. So the teacher is giving feedback on something that's in the past. It was already observed, and this helps the learner to reflect on how they performed in that particular task.